But I do want to turn at least a little bit to JD Vance and Tim Walz, because that will be happening tonight. We will be doing live coverage. You can tune in. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, and myself will be giving you all of our thoughts and analysis of the debate. And the last two, by the way, have been fascinating, with Joe Biden flaming out and then Donald Trump absolutely spinning out. So who knows what will happen here? What I do know, and I've been doing research into JD Vance as a debater, they're saying he doesn't think he needs to debate prep at all to defeat Tim Walz. That's what Politico is saying. And of course, that calls to mind for me that Donald Trump said the same thing. That said, I think this is managing expectations. I think JD Vance is definitely preparing for Tim Walz. JD Vance is a terrible guy in a lot of ways. I don't think that he's stupid in terms of this. I think he believes insane things about the universe and causality and morality and all that. But Donald Trump was actually lazy. I think JD Vance is probably prepping as much as he possibly can.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
And I've seen analyses of JD Vance's past debates when he was running for Senate. And he's apparently not a terrible debater, in that he speaks confidently and quickly and is not at all concerned about whether he's telling the truth or not. He will tell wild lies, but not as wild as Trump. And that's the most important thing. So it is entirely possible that JD Vance will say that Haitians are eating cats and dogs, but I don't think he's likely to just blurt stuff out the way Donald Trump would. And so my expectations for this debate are that I think that JD Vance almost has to perform better than Donald Trump, because virtually anyone would. You could throw a random person off the street in there against Tim Walz and they'll do a better job than Donald Trump would. Tim Walz, I think, will do what he can. I have never seen him debate. I have not read anything that implies that he's an amazing debater. Whereas with Kamala Harris, there was an expectation that her past as a prosecutor would give her a leg up in a debate. And so I think that the battlefield is much more level in this particular case. My expectation would be that this is going to be points scored on both sides. And I think that the effect on the election will probably be kind of nothing. I mean, most debates don't have much of an effect. The last two, I think, have been outliers. I don't think this will have much of an effect. I think that Republicans will probably come out of this thinking that JD Vance won, and Democrats will do the same for Tim Walz. And bear in mind, I've said in the past, I said that Joe Biden was going to win the first debate, and that didn't really work out too well. I said that Kamala Harris would win the second debate. I'm telling you in advance that I think that this one's going to be much more even. But what I will say is that the audience that will be watching this is not even on the candidates. People do view Walz more favorably. 4 in 10 registered voters have a somewhat or very unfavorable view of Vance. That's like 30% worse than Tim Walz. By the way, men in general prefer Walz over Vance. And you've heard a million times that the Republicans are like winning handily among men. Well, that's for Trump versus Harris. That's not for Vance versus Walz. And obviously women much prefer Walz. You take one look at JD Vance, you could probably predicted that. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they interpret the performances, because they're already predisposed to not really like JD Vance. He gives them new reasons for that every day.